Hey everybody, Diane Brandon Moody here again with another episode of 50 Something Love. And this week we're talking about girl, please take off your man goggles. For those who don't know what I mean when I talk about man goggles, listen carefully and see if any of this applies to you. This is a pair of glasses you might be wearing without even realizing it. I call them man goggles. You put them on years ago and you've had them on ever since. You wear them to the grocery store, you wear them to church, you wear them to your cousin's funeral, even though you might feel a little guilty about that. But here's what's going on. You're scanning every time you walk into any room. You scan at the hardware store because everybody says that's where the men are. You're checking his left hand before you've even looked at his face. You're assessing the man in line at the coffee shop, age, shoes, is that a wedding ring or a class ring? This little assessment that runs in the background at every party, every conference, every airport gate. You're really not shopping, although you may think you are. You're really conducting surveillance. If you're laughing right now like I am, it's because you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the reason I know what I'm talking about is because I was this person before I found my husband. I was looking everywhere to see anybody who was eligible. This is why you're doing it, and it's not your fault. Everybody, your grandmother, your sister, your college friends, they've told you to put yourself out there. Be open. You never know when you're going to meet someone. Say yes to everything. So you did. You are. You became extremely good student of that advice and you made yourself available everywhere, all the time, permanently. I'm not saying that kind of advice is wrong exactly. It just never mentioned that there's a difference between being open and actually being on duty. If you never clock out, dating stopped being something you do and it became something you are, the single woman who's looking. There's no evening where you just stare at the thing you're at. Every outing has a second job attached to it. It's exhausting, and you've stopped noticing because it's been running so long. Ask yourself when you last walked into a room and simply enjoyed being in it. So here's the part that you're probably not realizing. This shows. Scanning is visible. And even if it weren't and you were very good at scanning, a man can feel the difference between a woman who's enjoying herself and a woman who's evaluating the room. Nobody enjoys being assessed, including the good ones. The men most worth your attention tend to be the ones who notice it first. And they may not even notice it consciously. Chances are this is well beneath your conscious mind. This is something that they just feel uneasy about. Maybe they can't put a name on it, like, oh, she's husband hunting, but they know that something's going on, and it becomes a little bit awkward, and it becomes a little bit repellent, like two magnets that repel each other instead of attract. Here's the piece that connects to everything else I teach. Hunting is active. It's pursuing, initiating, chasing down. And that's the same energy you may use at work to close a deal or run a crisis. and you're probably pretty good at it. But that energy doesn't draw anything towards you. The energy goes out, it reaches. And a woman reaching across the room is not the same as a woman a man wants to walk toward. You may also miss the actual moment. You're so busy assessing him that you're not really there, and presence is the thing that pulls. Here's what I want you to try. Here's some free advice. Take the goggles off for a week. 1 week. You are not looking for anyone. Go to the store, go to the party, go to the gym, and go there for the actual reason you're going, not for the second reason. Here's what you should be noticing. What do your shoulders do? Do they drop a little? Do they get a little relaxed? Or are they a little bit hunched? How much energy you have at the end of a day if you weren't working the room. And just notice if anything is actually different or whether it just feels different. Look, I'm not telling you to give up or to stop wanting love or to sit home and let the universe handle it with the pizza guy. You're not withdrawing. You're clocking out. You're just taking the week off. There's a difference between being available and being on duty. And this week, you're just going to find out what that feels like. If you've been wearing these things so long you forgot that they're on, I did, that's worth knowing about yourself. And it's probably not the only thing running in the background. I built a quiz that tells you where you are right now in terms of being ready for love. There are 10 questions. They take about 90 seconds and it's free. It's called the Love Readiness Quiz, and I think you'll recognize yourself in the answer. Thank you for listening. I look forward to talking to you again next week. And in the meantime, send me an email, info@dianebrandonmoody.com, if you've discovered you've been on duty and what happens when you clock out. Thank you so much for all of this. I wish you a great week.